Welcome back, I'm George, and in this video, I'm going to show you everything you can do with the new Galaxy S Pen. Both in terms of functionality and customization, I'm going to show you everything you need to know. So without any further ado, let's begin with the first thing you need to know about the new S Pen, which is that unfortunately, I think for the first time ever on an Ultra phone, it is not symmetrical. I'm not sure if you can see it right here, but the tip is not symmetrical. So if you introduce it, let me show you the wrong way. There we go, it is actually flipped. It is not really going to sit flush with the phone. Luckily, that is the only bad news this year in terms of the S Pen. Everything from now on are going to be great features, especially the one that I'm going to show you right now, which is one of my favorite features for the S Pen. If you swipe down from the top right, then swipe down on this menu, and then tap on Screen Record, as probably many of you know, you can start a either partial or full screen recording of your phone. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that when we start recording and we're holding the S Pen in our hand, we can actually tap right here on the pen icon, then tap on the color to select a color if we want, and then we can actually draw things on top of the screen recording, which is really cool. This, of course, is not going to stay on your home screen. This is just part of the screen recording you're doing. So if you stop it and then come to the photo and video gallery, as you can see, it's going to show the drawings in real time as I was making them while I was screen recording, which can be very helpful if you want to make notes on something or over something. This can be very helpful. But anyways, that being said and moving on, let's now touch on a basic feature for the S Pen. So if you enter any browser or app where you have text on the screen, you can very easily select part of that text or all of it by simply holding the S Pen button while we cover or swipe across that text. So let's tap on the S Pen button, swipe across the text we want to select, and then very easily we can copy that text or share that text with, well, any other app. So theoretically, now you could go to your Notes app and paste that text, or you could use another method that makes it very easy to move this text across different apps. So let's once again tap on the button, select the text, and now if we tap and hold on this text, as you can see, it is going to highlight that selection. Then we want to move it to the side, then down. There we go. And now it is going to give you the option to either open it with a browser or with Samsung Notes. So let's tap on Samsung Notes. Then we can either add it to an existing note or add a new note, which is what we're going to do. And boom, just like that, we've turned that text into a new note, which, by the way, also triggers the split view mode. But if you want to focus on the Notes app, you can always swipe up like this all the way up, and boom, there you go. Now you can fully focus on your text on the Notes app. Now, that being said, and moving on to something a little bit more advanced, there's actually another and technically better way to select the text, which is to tap right here on the S Pen button, then tap on AI Select, and then, as you can see, circle around the area of text we want. There we go. And automatically, it is not only going to select the text, which we could tap right here and copy. As you can see, we could copy that selection, but we can also tap right here on Writing Assist, and it is going to open an AI menu to modify that text. So if we want to copy the text, but not in a literal way, maybe because we're using it on a text essay for college or something where you don't want it to be too obvious that you got inspired in this, you could always tap on Writing Style and change it so it is not the exact same thing. Or if it is a very long portion of text, you can always tap on Summarize to make it smaller. And if you want something a little bit more complex, you can tap on Composer and then select between different styles and different approaches for that text, and then generate an alternative version for it. But anyways, that being said, and before we move on, Now I actually have something for you watching this video. Okay, so a lot of you know me from this channel, whether it is in front of the camera or back there in the top-down shot. But right now I'm actually building a new channel that's a little bit more ambitious, where I will be needing some extra help. More specifically, I'm looking for a co-host to be in front of the camera with me, and I'm looking for a videographer to shoot the videos. So if by any chance you're interested in being a co-host on a YouTube channel, or you are a videographer, send me an email to this address so we can talk. But anyway, that said, let's get back to the S26 Ultra. Let's get back to the S Pen, because we have a lot more things to cover. Something very cool you can do with the S Pen is to tap right here on Gallery, select one of your photos, then tap right here on AI Select once again, and then circle whatever it is you want to edit. In this case, let's try to circle the entire picture. There we go. And then, of course, the phone is going to understand this is an image and give us the option to access the Photo Assist, which is a feature that's going to let you change or modify whatever it is on your photo using AI. So we can tap right here on Style, then we can make it, let's say, retro anime, generate, and automatically, in a couple seconds, it is going to create an alternative version for this image that looks like retro anime. There we go. It's pretty fast. It took like 6-7 seconds, 6-7. I'm sorry for that. And well, even though it took a bunch of creative liberties, as you can see, there's no sky in the original picture, it does look like retro anime. But anyways, that being said, let's move on to customization. For this, we actually have to access a third-party app called Pentastic, which in my case, I already had it on the phone by default. But if you don't, you can always come to the Samsung store, then search for Pentastic, there we go, and download this very small app, which by the way is made by Samsung, so don't worry, it is completely official, because once you have it, let's open it up, you'll be able to customize this menu right here, the menu for the S Pen features. By default, it is going to look like this, which is, pretty chunky. It's a pretty chunky menu. So I always like to come here and change it for the line menu, which of course is a lot smaller, as you can see. Let's tap right here again. As you can see, it is much more compact. It is better looking in my opinion. But you also have the option to make it a circle in 2 different styles. You can change the icon for the S Pen menu, so we could theoretically open any photo from the gallery and make that photo be the S Pen menu, as crazy as it sounds. And well, same goes for the small cursor that you can see right here on the display. By default, it is this very small circle, but you can make it a more classic arrow, you can make it a heart, you can make it an emoji, or you can make it a custom pointer with any photo on your gallery. But anyways, that being said, and moving on with customization, if we open up the quick menu for the S Pen and tap on plus right here, we can also customize the apps that show up on the menu, choosing between a list of S Pen features or any other app you have on the phone. So any app you've installed on your Samsung phone will show up here, and you'll be able to use it as an S Pen shortcut. Now, of course, here you can do whatever you want, but I always recommend you add at least these quick shortcuts right here. Create Note, AI Select, Screen Write, Magnify, and Creative Studio. So first of all, Quick Notes, like the name suggests, is going to open a little pop-up where we can draw anything we want. So if we're in a rush and someone gives us their phone or email, we can quickly tap right here, open a note, and then write whatever number it is they have or information we deem useful, and then we can save this to our notes. Then AI Select, we've covered it earlier. You can select anything on the display, and based on what it is, it's going to give you different options. In this case, it is technically a photo, so it gives us the Photo Assist, but it also has text, so it gives you the option to copy that text or modify it with Writing Assist, which we also covered earlier. Then we have this option right here called Screen Write, which is going to take a screenshot of whatever's on the display, and it's going to let us write on top of it, which, much like with the video screen capture, it is very useful if we want to, highlight something or add information about something. We can do it very easily with this functionality. Then we have the magnifier, which, like the name suggests, is going to let you magnify whatever's on the display without even touching the phone. As you can see right here, I'm not touching the phone, but it activates the magnifier anyways, which is really cool because it almost makes the S Pen feel like a magic wand. Now, as you can see right now, it is at 300%, but we can also choose 250, 200, or 150, depending on how much magnification we want. Now, in my opinion, if you are going to magnify all the way through. I think this is the the best option, the most magnification possible, so you can see the smallest of details on your phone. And then finally, we have a shortcut for Creative Studio, which is not necessarily the most useful app, but I highly recommend you use it with the S Pen. So it is always nice to have it on the S Pen menu. As you can see, if you tap right here and then tap on this drawing icon, you can essentially draw anything you want. Let's try to draw a house. There we go. Let's make it as good as I can. Let's tap on done. And then we can tap on generate for the phone to do its magic and turn that very simple drawing into something more professional. Now, as you can see, it's already improved on my original image, but we can also add a prompt, make that house photorealistic. There we go. Let's tap on generate. And hopefully it is going to use AI to make this very crappy house into something a little bit more believable. Which in this case, let's be fair, it didn't really do it. It added a little bit more detail, but it is still a house. But anyways, that being said and moving on, let's now come to the Settings app, to the main settings page, then swipe all the way down to Advanced Features right here, and then tap on S Pen. As you can see, first of all, we have an option for air commands, which are these little options right here. That's how Samsung calls them officially. And as you can see here, we get some of the options we have with Pentastic, but it's, a lot less customization than we have with that specific app. Now, a little bit below, we have the Air View, which is the pointer that shows you where the S Pen is going to land on your display. So I always recommend you turn it on. Then you have this option right here called S Pen to Text, which is really cool. I also recommend you turn it on because it is going to let you write with the S Pen on any search bar on the phone, like on Google Chrome. So let's type, let's say Samsung. There we go. It automatically turns it into normal text, and we can go search for Samsung without having to use the keyboard. Now, a little bit below on the S Pen settings, we have the option to change what we do when the S Pen is removed, which can be absolutely nothing. We can create a note, or we can open air commands, which are these options right here. So just for a demo, let's tap on Create Note. And well, as you can see, once I take the S Pen out of the phone, it automatically opens a quick note so I can write anything that I want. Then a little bit below, we have the screen off memos, which is going to let you write things on the screen when it's turned off, just by taking the S Pen out of the phone. So as you can see, the phone is turned off, but if we take the S Pen out, it is going to show this little menu where we can write things, whatever we want, and then save it to the phone as a normal note, which can be really, really great when you're in a real rush. You don't really have time to turn on the phone and set it up and open the notes or whatever. You can just quickly take out the S Pen and automatically start writing on the screen. Now, that being said, another way to open a quick note on the phone would be this one right here. If you press and hold the pen button and then tap the screen twice, it is going to open a quick note. So let's try it right here on the settings menu. Let's hold the button and tap twice. and boom, there you go. You can open a quick note so you can start writing anything you want. So that's another way to do it. I think it's great to have all these options because some people are going to find this one to be better. Some other people are going to find the quick menu to be better. It is just another option that's going to let you quickly write a note, which is probably the main functionality for the S Pen. Now, if we tap right here on More S Pen Settings, a very useful option is this one right here, Warn if S Pen is left behind. I always recommend you turn it on because it is going to notify you if you leave your S Pen behind. Considering this is, I think, $100 on Amazon, you don't want to lose it. So turn this on. If you ever miss it on a restaurant or somewhere, a couple minutes later, the phone is going to show you a notification so you know it's missing and you can try to get it back. Now, that being said, something you should also know is that if you press and hold the button on the S Pen and tap twice on the phone, you can always open a quick note when the S Pen is out. So you can do the same thing you can do on the phone when it's turned on, when it's turned off. And well, now that we are here on the quick notes, I would also like to show you a couple basic things you should know. First of all, if you tap and hold the button and you swipe it across the display, it is going to act as an eraser, so you can quickly write and then delete what you wrote by tapping on the button. Then if you're here on the lock screen, you should know that by tapping right here on the arrow, you can open multiple pages, so you don't have to, limit yourself to the space on the first screen. You can add an infinite scroll, as you can see, of text, which I'm not sure it's going to be necessary because at that point you could just go to the home screen, open a real note, but whatever. If you need to write a lot of things here, you can do it. And then something really cool, as you can see right here, is that you can pin that note to your lock screen. So instead of showing your normal wallpaper, it is going to show that note, which can act as a great way to remind yourself of things that you know you're going to forget. But anyways, that being said, I think that's everything you need to know about the S Pen on the S26 Ultra. If you have any questions, please tell me down below. And if not, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again very soon. Peace.